Hey everybody, welcome to the Morning Devo with Bo O. My name's Bo Willette, and I'm going to be getting in the Word this morning. And as always, every day, Monday through Friday, I get a chance to go live, whether on this channel or my YouTube stream at Bo Willette. And there, not only do we go live, but we also have all the archives of the Devos from the past. And we got quite a bit of devotions on there. Oh man, do we. We are really building up a library online of all these devotions on kind of going through the Bible, learning it together. And if you've never gone through it, if you would have started with us in Genesis, man, you would have been rocking. And you already would have learned so much about why these books are written, what they're about, what it says, what the big picture is regarding what we call the Bible, and you really probably would have been a little blown away by now of how relevant it is for today, and how really our world around us makes sense when we read the Bible, the way things are. Whether it's the idea of why things die, why there's death all around us, why God's not present with us right now, like in the sense of there's like the kingdom of God, outside of the house, kind of thing. Why is it not like that? Why it seems that human beings are bent on destruction. And so a lot of things that we see in our world really the Bible talks about and gives the reasons why. And so very cool. So today's Devo is going to be in Deuteronomy chapter 9 and 10. And again, Deuteronomy is just a reiteration of the law. It's Moses' swan song, man. He's checking out. He's going to be leaving his people behind as they go forward into the promised land. And he's kind of, this is it. This is the big hurrah, if you will. And so this book is Moses just reiterating, giving the last sermon, to his people. So it always starts with that kind of hero Israel. You'll hear a lot of that in this book, right? Just like in chapter 9, hero Israel. Listen, pay attention. Hey, how's my ears today? Are they, I'm allergy stricken for sure. They're clogged. But am I going to listen to God today? Right? Like, who am I going to listen to? Maybe just my animal instincts, maybe just my flesh, just my own nature. What is my life about? Who am I listening to? Who is the ultimate authority that I'm going to be listening to? Who do I trust to listen to? Who do you trust to listen to, right? Regarding matters of importance. Hear, O Israel, do you have an ear to hear? Today? That's a good question for us, right? How's my ears today? Hear, O Israel, you are now about to cross the Jordan. So you get the idea, you understand the book more, right? They're about to cross the Jordan, go into the promised land. Been waiting 100 years to do this, by the way. This has been a long time coming. And it says, so you're about to go in and you're going to possess this area that's got people that have large cities, large walls, total fortified places, nations bigger and stronger, all that jazz. It says, and who can stand against the Anakites? Man, it says these people are strong, these Anakites, they're tall. They're all just big people in some of these areas. It says, but be assured today that the Lord God is the one who goes across ahead of you like a devouring fire. It's kind of a cool idea, right? It's the idea that God goes ahead of you. God's the one who's going to take care of the situation. We can trust God. So it's kind of a neat idea. It's something that really took place in the sense that God did go before them, ahead of them. God already had their steps planned, ready to go. It's the victory was already theirs. And it's kind of neat when you fight something from victory already. You don't have to fight something for victory, but you already have the victory won. It's just a matter of kind of taking the step, right? Having that willingness. And this is kind of that idea in Christianity, is that the victory already is the Lord's. There's some cool praise songs like that, older ones, the victory is the Lord's. And it's based off these books and these passages that we're reading in the Old Testament, that idea that, God goes before us. He already knows the number of my days. He already knows he has my plan set out. It's time for me to trust him and to take the step. What's God saying to me? What is God wanting me to do? I might not know that plan exactly, but you know what? If you will, the trick is to take the step in faith. And that's the right path. I can be confident in that, is to trust God when I step out, when I make those decisions in life, when I go on that new adventure, whatever it is, when I, open up that thing, do that new business or whatever it is that I'm doing, that endeavor, take the step of faith. God goes before. And that's good. Sometimes overcoming areas of our life that are struggles and battles can be a real tough thing too. But it's good to know God goes before us, that we are fighting from victory, not for it. So that's the idea that I think I really enjoy out of that little section. It is a good one. It's one to underline again, that idea that he will go before you. And it says in verse 4, after the Lord your God has driven them out before you, do not say to yourself, the Lord has brought me here to take possession of the land because of my righteousness. No, it is on account of the wickedness of the nations that the Lord is going to drive them out before you. It's not because of your righteousness. It's not because of your integrity that you are going to take possession of the land, but it's on the account of the wickedness of these nations. God said he was going to judge the Canaanite tribes, and he said it hundreds of years ago. And this land is something that it seems like God's eye has been on, and the people and what has happened in this land. And so it was time for judgment to happen. But boy, when God does something for us in our life and does something in us and through us, we can tend to get a little cocky and think we got it all together. And we can tend to be those people that go, I'm pretty righteous. Man, look how God's using me. Or man, you know what? I'm so full of integrity. And that's why, God's doing these amazing things. It's because of my incredible holiness. That kind of idea. Oh, I am such a good moral person. And boy, that's what it's all about. But notice, their victory is not going to be by their works. It's going to be what? By grace, right? It's not going to be by their righteousness, their integrity. Their victory will be by the grace of God. And that will be it. His mercy, his grace, and his what? Loving kindness to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so this book reiterates that over and over. Hence the word Deuteronomy, right? Reiteration, the repetition, right? Trying to get in our minds that, hey, guess what? You're saved by grace, bro. That's right. You are saved by grace. And we always have this interesting statement sometimes in modern day Christianity where we say, hey, we're not sinless. We just God just wants us to sin less. But I tend to think sometimes those statements like that tend to make us think we sin less, that really it is our righteousness and really it is our integrity that's getting us in the kingdom. Really, how less of a sinner are you today? Like on a spectrum from what you were 10 years ago. 20 years ago? Like, are you like, how close are you to Jesus today? Are you really, really close? Are you that good? Or do you still see you are way, 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 way off? So yeah, when Jesus faced that person who felt like they were close to Jesus, Jesus just said to him, hey, go sell everything you have and give to the poor. And that's what Jesus said to the person who thought he was actually walking like Jesus with the Father. And that person went away pretty bummed because he realized he ain't even close, right? Yeah, so it's not your integrity, it's not your righteousness, right? That God's gonna go before you. It's grace, right? And it's his judgment on these other nations too. It's a promise that he gave to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So understand in verse 6 that it is not because of your righteousness that the Lord your God is giving you this good land to possess, for you are a stiff-necked people. I don't think it can get any more clear than that, right? You are a stiff-necked people. The Bible teaches that humans are unrighteous, that we are a stiff-necked human race. That's right. That even if there's anything that the Old Testament shows, the books of Torah, the law, the first 5 books, is that even if God shows miraculous signs and his presence is veiled but shown, that even humans under those conditions will not believe and turn. They will still go the way of idolatry. That's how, in a sense, gnarly we are, how stiff-necked we are. So, and by the way, hello everybody in the comment corner. Super happy that you're with us, or with me today. So there's a reiteration of the golden calf, and it's very cool. We went over this in Exodus, of course, but Deuteronomy is a reiteration. Moses is given the last big preaching sermon to Israel. He's saying, remember what happened with the golden calf? Remember that back in the day? Do you remember what happened? Do you remember what that was about? And it talks about Moses staying on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights, twice, without food and without water, right? Man does not live on bread alone, but by what? Every word that proceeds from God. That's right. That's what it said in chapter 8 of Deuteronomy. The very start of it. It was at verse 3, 8:3 of Deuteronomy. Man doesn't live by bread alone. Moses understood that because Moses did not even eat, right? Very Jesus-like, right? Jesus, what did he do? He was tempted 40 days, 40 nights without sustenance as well. So that might be an area that you might want to underline, this whole section of the golden calf incident from verse 7 on. And you'll see some similarities, some parallels with the temptation of Christ. Someone even greater than Moses is here. Jesus talked about to the people of his day. You thought Moses was cool? Man, I even got a greater ministry. I'm even a greater person than Moses. So that is reiterated in this section. And it talks about how Moses, when the people of Israel went after the golden calf that they made, molten gold, and they worshiped this image, it says, once again, he fell prostrate before God for 40 days and 40 nights. Wow, man, Moses just laid himself out before God. Have you ever done that before, where you just laid yourself out before God? You got on your knees, you maybe even got on the floor and just said, Lord, I am undone. Like, man, I am amongst a people of sinners, and am a sinner myself. And sometimes that's all we can do is just lay out prostrate before God and and pray, seek the Lord, right? In those kind of difficult times. In difficult times, what do? Get on our knees, right, and pray. It says, but again, the Lord listened to Moses in this section. It's a beautiful kind of brightness in the chapter, right? That Moses is recalling this time of such failure at the very beginning, and and there's that bright shining moment where it says God listened to Moses. Isn't that beautiful? God listens, man. God listens to you. God listens to me. What a amazing idea that God would listen to us. Like God's not under some obligation to listen to me. Right? When I think that way, oh, God's under some obligation to listen to me. Like, who am I? Like, look at the planets, look at the universe. I'm just a speck. I'm just a speck on a speck. And God's supposed to listen to me. I think I'm thinking of myself a little too big, right? No, the amazing thing is that a creator would listen to me, right? Would listen to me and pay attention to my prayers. And that's the beautiful, I think, shining part in the chapter, is that when Moses reiterates this historical fact, this historical incident, that he says, hey, the Lord listened to me. And that's in verse 19. And so it goes on, and we see that he does this again. Moses lays out prostrate before God. It's talked about in verse 25. And so it goes into now chapter 10. So chapter 9 is that reiteration of the golden calf incident. Again, there's some cool things to look at in there. There's that Jesus parallel, the 40 days and 40 nights. And you see that when, Moses thinks back on those times where he did pray before God and really intercede for the people, really, an intercessor, someone who prays for other people. Moses was praying for his people. Man, he knew that they blew it. He knew that they constantly blew it. But yet Moses himself blew it too. And there was going to be consequences to those actions. And in chapter 10, it goes over all the making of the Ten Commandments, the tablets. So at this time the Lord said to me, chisel out 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and come up to me on the mountainside. Also make a wooden chest, and I will write on the tablets the words that were on the first tablets which you broke. Then you are to put them in the chest. So I made the ark out of acacia wood and chiseled out 2 stones tablets like the first ones. And I went up to the mountain with the 2 tablets in my hand, and the Lord wrote on these tablets what had been written before, the 10 commandments he had proclaimed to you on the mountain out of the fire, on the day of the assembly. And the Lord gave them to me. Then I came back down the mountain and put the tablets in the ark that I had made, and that the Lord commanded me to make, and they ate, and they are there now. So you kind of see the reiteration now of that event that took place, the second tablets of stone that are chiseled out and written on by God. And now in my Bible, I have underlined verse 4, the Lord wrote on these tablets what he had written before. The idea of writing, of course, is communication, right? That God would communicate, that he would write something and have a history of it, that it would be something that would stay presently with the people so that they could always look at it and go, hey, this is where that came from. This is the history of what this is. This was made by God. And it was always to be a testimony of God's communication with us humans. In a sense, we are visited by the deity, right? The deity has showed up. The Creator has showed up. And he's given us a history, something to set in history, to set in the present time, but that it would be something that people in the future can look at and go, oh, yeah, I see. This is how God moved. This is what God did. God revealed himself, you know. Now, I think it's interesting that not only does God communicate, which is very, very awesome to think about that, hey, God would communicate to us, right? Do I deserve to be communicated to? Am I righteous? Am I filled with integrity? Is it because of my integrity or my righteousness that God's communicating with me? No, God just communicates with us. Why? It's just because he loves us. He's loving kind. He is loving kindness. And which is really amazing, right? So he not only communicates, but it's what he communicates as well. He communicates something that is really instructional, something that really I look at and I can understand it, and but I understand the ramifications of it. So it's communicating something to me. It's and something pretty vital that there's a problem. The communication of the Ten Commandments is that whenever I read the Ten Commandments, I realize that something's wrong with me every time you read it. That's the interesting thing about the Ten Commandments. And that's why so many people would want the Ten Commandments removed from classrooms or any kind of government buildings or anything. The reason why you want to remove the Ten Commandments is because when you read it, what it's communicating is something the human condition does not like. The pride in humanity does not enjoy what is being communicated in the Ten Commandments. Because you know what it is? It's you have failed. That's ultimately what you read when you read the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not steal. You shall not murder. You shall even not covet, not even lust at all. No lust. No lusting, desiring, a lust after money, a lust after things, a lust after people, anything like that. You shall not make any images of God. When you think of God, you shall not make up something in your brain of God. You shall not think of things below the sea. You shall not think of things in the air. You shall not think of the mountains. You shall not think of anything when you think of God. Nothing that has been made is to come into your brain when you think of God. You are to make no images, Wow, you are to remember the God of the Shabbat, the Sabbath, the rest. You are to remember the creation, honor the order of creation. 6 days you shall work, the seventh you shall rest. All the things that point, to observe, to honor God, to think of God. The Sabbath was made as a day of joy to the Lord, to remember God. It was a day of remembrance, a day of joy, to thank God. So the Ten Commandments was just one giant communication to human beings of saying, hey, I'm communicating with you, and this is what I'm communicating. And it's that we got a problem. Houston, we got a problem. That's right. The problem is, man, there's a big difference between you and I. Huge. And that's why when people, again, when they get cocky and they think like, oh man, I'm pretty full of integrity. Oh yeah? How full are you of integrity? Oh yeah, I'm really jamming. Yeah? How much you jamming? It's like who you comparing yourself to, right? If I compare myself to Joe Schmo down the road, sure, maybe I am a cool person. But you know what? I compare myself to the carpenter from Nazareth, and I find utter failure. No, not even close. Not even on the radar, man. And that is something the Ten Commandments spell out. It's a message that we humans, man, it's a tough one for us. We don't like that. We don't like being told that, you're a sinner and we don't like those words. We're like, no, I'm better, I'm greater, I'm full of integrity, I'm full of righteousness. You could see how these chapters, right, are just where we're at today. Same. Humans have not changed in thousands and thousands of years. We are the same stiff-necked folk as we've always been. What's the remedy? Moses, fall on your face, right? Pray, right? Seek the Lord. And so at the end of 10, it just says something so beautiful. It says, and now, O Israel, again, the reiteration of the law, hear, O Israel, right? The Lord, it says, what does the Lord your God ask of you but to fear the Lord your God? This is the remedy. Fear the Lord your God. Meaning reverence him, value God, put his value above everything. It says, fear the Lord your God, to walk in all of his ways, to love him, to serve the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul. Very much like a vow in marriage, right? I vow to love you, to walk faithful to you. I vow to serve you. Do you see the wedding kind of connotations? Like the vow kind of things? Like it sounds very vowy, you know? I don't know if that's a word. It might be a Bo word. But, you know, it sounds very much like a vow, man. You know, this is the deal. Walk, love me, serve me, you know, with all of your heart, all of your soul. Observe, right? That kind of idea. Yeah, they're entering into this contract, this covenant. And there's blessings and there's curses, you know, that are coming. And the blessings of observing and obeying, and the cursing of disobeying and refusing, right, to leave the covenant. And so it goes on and it says, to the Lord your God belong the heavens, even the highest heavens, the earth and everything in it. Yet the Lord has set his affection on your forefathers and loved them, and he chose you, their descendants, above all the nations, as is today. Why did God pick Israel? Not because they were great, not because of any of that, right? But he loved them. He loved who? Abraham. Started with Abraham, of course, from the line, one of the lines of the sons of Noah. And these people were lost, and God revealed himself to them, called Abraham. And so it's beautiful, right? I have set my affections. When God sets his affections on you, that's pretty awesome, right? Man, that's pretty cool. God loves you. You know, again, does God have to? I don't think so. You know, but he does. So very cool. So a good little last section. You might want to read that last section of chapter 10. It is pretty cool. It has some good things. It has mentions circumcising of the heart in this section too. It's kind of that first place of mentioning of the circumcision of the heart instead of the circumcision just of the flesh of the males, but really to circumcise the heart. You know, meaning cut out the fleshly nature, the animalistic nature, right? And look to God, you know, the spiritual. So sometimes we get so caught up in the flesh, we forget the spiritual. So good stuff, a lot of neat stuff in this chapter. You guys just have a great, great day. I hope these words just speak to you. Okay, you guys take care. Bye-bye.